My name is Veronica Franco. I am a registered nurse at Lutheran General Hospital. Sure. So again, I am a registered nurse, an orthopedic nurse at Lutheran General Hospital in Park Ridge. Family, as far as family, I come from a very small family compared to my mother and father. They were both born in Mexico, Jalisco. They both had roughly 10 brothers and sisters each, so our extended family is huge. As far as myself, I was born here in Chicago, and culture growing up was, I would say, split down the middle. My family owned a restaurant, and my sister and I only had one sister, no brothers, just one sibling. And so we grew up with the business, and we experienced culture, the Mexican culture, through the restaurant and through various and several trips to Mexico when we were little. So luckily I am fluent in Spanish. Our business did help with that quite a bit because, again, I would say we had half English speaking customers, half Spanish speaking customers. Some would say, or some comment, that I don't have an accent in either Spanish or English. So I would say that would help. And it has been a tremendous help at work, whereas I am considered a bigger asset possibly than other nurses on the floor at times when there are more Spanish speaking patients. There was one hospital that I did work at where there was hardly any Latino Hispanic nurses. And I remember being pulled to several floors, not only to different patients that were not mine on my floor, but to several other floors in the hospital. So it was nice. I felt a little bit special there because I remember the doctors always asking for me. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. Some are benefits and some are not. But at this point, I would say that it's been very beneficial as far as being bilingual. I would recommend that the student go to their counselor and find out what classes they need to take. Every nurse has to be a certified nurse assistant before becoming a registered nurse, which is, in my opinion, a phenomenal idea, not only to become a certified nurse assistant, but to work as one. I never did. I obtained my CNA and then went straight into nursing. It was okay to start as a registered nurse without the experience, but I feel it would have been a lot more beneficial because even though I went through the course, I still didn't have the practice. So it was a little intimidating to turn patients for the first time, to do various things that nursing assistants do. So if you can work as a nurse assistant first, that would be super duper helpful. So again, just talk to your counselor, make sure what you need to take. When I went back to school late in my 30s, and I was in contact with my college advisor, I would say on a weekly or monthly basis, just so I wouldn't miss anything, because you would hear, the student that thought that they had everything and they were about to graduate, and suddenly a class expired and then they got to go back and take that again. So just stay on top of things and trust who you're working with, your counselor. I didn't. I paid, I don't recall exactly, but it was probably, with books and scrubs and all, close to $1,000, which is very, very expensive. And the school that I went to was not the best. I would say that if you can do it in high school for free, and I would say that the district possibly might have better programs than some of the programs out there that are taking in enormous amount of candidates and getting them in and getting them out, because again, that's a requirement before even applying to the nursing program. So if that's the case, I would recommend the student take advantage of that 100%. Word or a sentence, I would say, don't forget what your dream is. Don't give up like everybody says. Again, I went back to school when I was in my 30s. Nursing, the nursing program, whether you go for your associates or bachelor's, is extremely difficult, challenging, rigorous. But I always say if I could do it, anybody can, because again, we had the business. I wasn't working there full time, but I still did payroll, ordering, other various tasks. I also had 3 children. I believe they were 3, 5, 7. I also did find out that a quarter of the way through nursing school, we were expecting our 4th child. So here is Veronica, 9 months pregnant, walking down hospital corridors, med surge 1, med surge 2, and I'd have classmates, complaining and crying, and just, I'd say, look at me, quiet. You can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I had a full plate and then some. So just don't forget, I wanted to be a nurse since I could remember, since maybe 4 or 5 years of age. And I did go back to school after high school. I started college right after high school, but at the time, I didn't put 100% effort. So I stopped going and I dedicated myself to other things like starting a family and continuing with the family business with my family. And like I said, I did go back a couple of times and it wasn't for me. And I could not forget my dream. My dream was to be a nurse, and I don't take it for granted. I love what I do, and just look for what you want and love to do.